20-year-old Yashvendra Singh had just returned home from Indiana University for a visit. He had been back in the country for only 10 days. He was a national-level basketball player and a gold medalist, a young man at the peak of his physical prime. His father, a serving brigadier in the Indian Army, had brought the family together in Delhi to care for Yashvendra's grandfather, who was undergoing treatment for cancer. The family was emotionally prepared for the loss of an ailing elder. They were completely unaware that the real threat was waiting for their youngest member. At 6 a.m. on a Friday, Yashvendra was driving a university friend to a gym in Vasant Kunj. During the drive, the vehicle veered off the road and rammed into a tree. The momentum of the SUV carried it past the initial impact point, forcing the vehicle off the solid shoulder. Without warning, the damaged car plunged directly into a deep, unseen void, hidden right beside the edge of the street. At these urban speeds, a modern SUV is designed to protect its occupants. The investigation now hinges on how this survivable collision transitioned so quickly into a fatal event. The void beside the road was actually a massive, exposed urban drain filled with water. The infrastructure here lacked any form of safety barrier, leaving a deep concrete trench of toxic runoff and trash completely open to the public space. In the immediate aftermath, the passenger was able to unbuckle her seatbelt and pull herself out of the water. In the driver's seat, the seatbelt locking mechanism jammed under the tension of the crash. It refused to release. This single mechanical failure, combined with the flooded drain, created a trap that a physically fit athlete could not escape. Local residents rushed to the drain, climbed down into the water, and successfully pulled the friend to safety. They could not free Yashvendra. He remained pinned by the jammed belt and began to choke on the drain water. By the time police extracted him and reached Safdarjung Hospital, he was pronounced dead. Post-crash analysis of the SUV shows the passenger cabin remained entirely intact. The front-end damage stayed well outside the driver's space. Yashvendra survived the blunt force impact. He died because he was trapped underwater in an otherwise safe cabin. This highlights a case of systemic civic negligence. The fatal failure occurred long before the car ever left the pavement. Leaving an open, deep drain immediately adjacent to a roadway is a fundamental failure of civic design. This hazard turned a survivable accident into a death trap. This isn't an isolated tragedy, but a symptom of how waterways are managed across metropolitan areas. A properly designed road barrier deflects a vehicle back onto the shoulder. The Vasant Kunj site provided no protection, allowing the SUV to plummet into the trench. Removing this safety buffer drastically increases the likelihood of a fatal outcome in a minor collision. Friends allege this is part of a pattern of repeated deaths linked to civic apathy. Urban infrastructure is a critical life-saving system. In this instance, the design failed to protect the public. Yashvendra's family is now left with a devastating reality, preparing final rites for a vibrant 20-year-old instead of the ailing grandfather they came to care for. A promising future was extinguished by a missing concrete cover on a local street. Until municipal bodies are held accountable for basic infrastructural safety, the city remains rigged, with invisible death traps waiting to claim lives for the slightest mistake.